The most important things about the handstand are not properly strength and mobility, but I would say it's more about learning the correct activation and connecting your mind to the movement. It took me ever since I started working out to get to the level where I am, which is more than about 2.5 years. And I think you can drastically reduce your handstand unlock time if you follow my advice. Alright, so the correct activation starts with your fingers, your palm. So just as your feet, if you notice, if I try to fall forward, your feet are going to make force. Your fingers, your feet fingers are going to push you back, and your heels, so your sole, is going to push you forward. This is going to be the same mechanics that you're going to use for the handstand. If you begin to fall forward, you want to use your fingertips. And if you begin to fall backwards, you want to use the palm of your hands, which is a little harder to understand. I haven't understood it fully yet, so I will try to show you here. I go up. If I fall forward, my fingers just kind of... Your fingers have to do this, just as your feet. Another thing that you should be correctly activating is your shoulders and traps. Like when you're doing the handstand, you don't want to just stay here. You want to push and lock here. So it is nice and tight. So notice the difference between being here, which is what people usually do, and here. You see, everything is locked. Your traps and your shoulders. Push yourself as hard as you can against the ground. Another thing that you should keep in mind is your hips and core. So how the fuck? I didn't structure this properly. Let me get a better angle. Fuck it. It's going to go sideways. Alright, so your hip, you don't want to stay with your hip loose. You want to keep it tight and your core activated. So I need to get a tripod, honestly. Your hip just loose, which is what's going to happen. You're going to fall. You want to keep it tight, your core activated. I'm just leaving it loose here. You want to keep it tight and go up. You see the difference? How much control there is? And look at the shoulders and traps activation. You see that? You want to be training. You want to be activating it, so you push as hard as you can, as well as the core, the core and your hips. Your elbows shouldn't also be wobbling around. You should keep it locked. You should keep the arms straight. You don't want to be doing the handstand with your elbows unlocked. It could be a little dangerous and it's always going to look worse, so always keep it straight. Another thing that you should keep in mind is your feet. I can't show it here. Your feet should be pointing upwards, so you want to kind of stretch your entire body. Do you see that? Do you see how my feet are pointing up? And the entire body is being stretched vertically. So this way, you can keep a very nice handstand line. Once you understand all of the activation, I swear to fucking God, handstand will become so fucking easy to you. And it will be just a matter of time until you actually get enough strength and mobility to actually do cool stuff with your handstand. So like messing around with your body and doing handstand push-ups and all that kind of stuff. Because the handstand is mostly about learning the correct activation, in my opinion. There are a few mistakes that you are probably doing, and I will try to name all of them. So the first one is keeping your fingers closed. You want to get your fingers spread so you can actually have a larger base, so that it is easier for you to balance on your fingers. Because if you do it like this, it's going to be pretty hard for you to actually apply force on your fingers if you are falling forward. So if you keep everything open, it's going to be a lot easier for you to balance. Another mistake is not keeping a straight line when doing the handstand. So let me show it to you really quick. Like this. You will kind of fuck up your spine if you do that. But if you keep a straight line, it's much harder for you to fall, and you can just pretty much chill over here. So you don't need to worry about balancing too much if you keep a straight line. Another major mistake, and it took me like a fucking lot of time to learn, is that your weight, if you're feeling your weight on the palm, that's incorrect. You should be feeling it on the center of your hand. So think of it as your feet. Where do you feel your force going? Do you feel it on your heels, or do you feel it on the center of your feet? It's most likely on the center of your feet, unless you have a posture problem or something else. So the same principle should be applied for your hands, for the handstand. You want to be feeling your weight going down on the center of your hand, not on the palm, because otherwise you will lose balance. Look what happens if I try to balance myself on my heels. I'm going to fall pretty easily. So if I have the force going on my feet, on the center of my feet, I will stay in the same place. It's the same for the handstand. And one last mistake that fucking it fucking annoys me a lot, is falling incorrectly. Once you begin to fall, like if you're falling forwards, you want to rotate your body. You see that? It's as easy as that. You don't need to be fucking tumbling like a fucking, what do you call, like a fucking cheeseburger forwards. Look at this. If you fall like this, you look, oh, I cannot even fall like that. Don't fall like a dumbass. Rotate your body, land easily, 1 feet at a time. You don't need to be getting your body smashed against the ground. That's not good for you. So when you're falling forward, you want to kind of put your hand like this. Imagine if you rotate to the right, you put your hand like this, and then you rotate. If you rotate to the left, it's the same fucking thing. So as long as you fall with 1 feet at a time, it should be pretty much okay. But the rotation actually helps a lot to ease the fall, so you don't get hurt. So now we're getting to the delicious part that you've probably been waiting for, which are the exercises. You can still learn the handstand without exercises. It's just that these exercises will actually help you understand the activation and help you fasten your progress. So the first one is pike push-ups. What you're going to want to do for the pike push-ups is you want to lean down, right, until you can reach the ground, and then you will lean over to a comfortable position. So for me, it is something like this. You know, you want to keep your back as straight as possible, and until you find a position that's kind of piked and it is comfortable for you, you want to do the position there. Your head positionment should be at the same width as your shoulders, and your hands should be rotated, your elbows should be rotated inwards. You want to always hold up and down, you know, and then push. And notice how I'm pushing on the same vector that I came when going down. So I'm not doing something like this. I'm not doing something like this. I'm going down, up. You see? That's the correct movement. And it should target the front part of your shoulders. When you're doing the pike push-up, you want to get your elbows rotated inwards. So you are pushing like this. Not outwards, not normal, inwards. So this way you're like, you see this? This gets locked in place, and then you can actually do the push-up movement. If you want to really max out your gains, I highly recommend you going slow on the way down and then really fast as you can on the way up. But make sure to keep the correct activation, otherwise it won't be as good as if you had correct activation. Another exercise for your handstand is pike leans. We want to go forward and then come back up as close as you can to your, and for the sake of maximizing your gains, you want to not wobble, so you don't, fuck, I need to keep changing the camera angle, fucking retard. So you don't want to be doing the pike leans like this. This doesn't do anything. Keep the correct form, everything tight, and yeah, that should be the correct activation for the pike leans. So full body tight, same activation as pike push-ups, and you just go forward and backwards. So my retarded ass cannot plan a video normally, so I will show you the next exercise, which is the wall handstand. Let's get a tree. The activation is exactly the same as the normal handstand, but now we're doing it on the wall. So you want to climb it upwards, like backwards. You don't want to go into the handstand immediately like this, but you want to climb it up with your feet while moving backwards. So it should look something like this, right? So the activation is the same: shoulders, traps, hips, core, and feet up. You want to get down, you do the exact same thing. Holy shit. And there's another exercise, the last one I promise, which is doing the wall handstand climb. So it is kind of the same as doing the pie clean, but instead you're doing it on the full handstand. So let me get a better angle at this. I'm gonna start here, right? And then you just climb up and then climb down. So the activation is the same. What you're gonna want to focus on is keeping the entire body tight and not letting it wobble. So don't let your body swing around randomly. Keep everything tight, shoulders straight, traps activated, hips and core, glutes, legs, everything tight. So you want to keep a straight line and you want to climb it up doing the normal handstand. Alright, so when should you be doing these exercises, these Zesty exercises? So